fantasy owners, LTC Fantasy here. Not sure if you're chiming in watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate the watch or listen no matter how you're streaming the episode. Before we get started, do want to mention we have partnered up with 247clash.com. Link is down in the description there. It's basically a pools type player versus player fantasy style game that's pretty much made winnable for anyone there. So if you do check out www.247clash.com, when you get to the homepage at the top of it, you'll see a link on how to play. It's a short 50-second video, explains the game a little bit better than I could for sure. And if you do sign up, do use referral code LTC, as that will help us out here. And hopefully you can start winning some cash. Do note it is for Canadian residents only at this time. So today's our week 24 midweek waiver wire episodes. We're going to look at some players who are either on hot streaks or gaining some opportunity due to injuries, etc. Hopefully help strengthen your roster not only for this week, but into championship week next week as well. So basically we'll get right into it. Some goaltenders to look at. First one maybe is Philip Grubauer, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues. He's started 9 of the last 12 games for Seattle there, and he has 5 wins in those 9 starts. He's been on and off of late there, but he is getting starts, and that could definitely help you out down the stretch there if you're in a tight matchup, as a third option, of course. Next one is over in LA. Maybe look at Felix Copley, owned in 54% of Yahoo leagues, and he has 6 wins in just his last 7 games there. So he had a stinker the last game, but still snuck out a win. He gave up 6 and still got the win out of it there. But overall, he is alternating starts with Korpisalo there. LA is hot right now, getting wins, so he could definitely help you out down the stretch. Next one I had was Joel Hofer. He's only owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues, but he had a stinker last game and got sent down to the AHL, so just ignore that one, and we'll move along. Jonas Korpisalo from LA is the last one here, owned in 41% of Yahoo leagues. Has 4 wins and 5 starts with LA so far, so pretty good start for him there. He is sharing the crease, as I mentioned, with Copley there. They're alternating starts. Both of them are getting a lot of wins, so depending what one's available in your league, could definitely help you out by getting some W's there. Before we do get to the next segment, do want to ask, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so, as we're trying to grow the channel. Would appreciate the support there. If you're listening via podcast, give us a 5-star review. Pretty easy to do, and it helps spread the word so other people can have access or get suggested the podcast there. So we'll move along to some D-men. First one is Keandre Miller from the Rangers, owned in 49% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing for the Rangers, and he has 8 points his last 9 games, and in those 9 games he's +9, has 18 hits and 13 blocks. With Miller, the offense has been okay, been a little bit here and there, but overall fairly decent there. His overall Cats are really, really good though, so he should be a good depth piece for a Cats league down the stretch. Next one's over in Edmonton. Possibly look at Matthias Ekholm. Up to 48% owned, playing second pairing, second power play unit, and he has 8 points his last 10 games. And in those 10 games, he's also +8. Has a power play point, 23 shots on goal, 18 hits, 16 blocks. He's basically doing a lot of stuff in the right direction for him. He's been playing great since coming over to Edmonton, and be an excellent add in a Cats league if you can get him. Over in Arizona, maybe look at Juuso Välimäki, owned in 29% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit, and he has 8 points his last 9 games, so nice amount of offense. Also in those 9 games, 19 shots on goal, 17 blocks there. He can be streaky, but overall, over the stretch of games, his numbers are okay there, so he should provide depth in deeper leagues. Over in Washington, maybe look at Rasmus Sandin, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit, and he has 10 points his last 11 games, 4 of those being on the power play, which is nice, and 19 hits. With that, it's a little bit skewed because he has been pointless the last 2 games that Karlsson's been back. But even with Karlsson back, yes, he slots to second pairing, second power play unit, but he's still playing a lot of pretty good opportunity there. So in a mid to deep league, he could provide some value for you. Over in Montreal, maybe look at Michael Matheson, owned in 32% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit for the Canadians. And he has 10 points his last 8 games. Of those 10 points, 3 have been on the power play, so nice amount of power play production. 28 shots on goal and also 15 blocks in those 8 games. He has very, very, very solid numbers recently and be a good depth add down the stretch, especially in a Cats league the way he's playing. Over in Calgary, maybe look at Noah Hannafin. Owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit. He has 6 points his last 8 games, and in those 8 games also has 17 shots on goal and 11 blocks. With Hannafin, it's been a real hit or miss season. He goes on stretches, then he disappears on stretches there, but he's been decent recently there and could work out for you going forward there. Over in New Jersey, maybe look at Damon Severson, owned in 21% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing, second power play unit, and he has 8 points his last 11 games. In those 11 games, he has 17 blocks, which is pretty good. He's been solid for a while. He's had a nice little stretch. Really cold start, but been solid for a while now. Should be an okay depth add going forward. Over in Carolina, maybe look at Brady Shea, owned in 37% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing for the Hurricanes, and he has 6 points his last 7 games, and in those 7 games, also firing the puck on net, 21 shots on goal. It's been a little streaky, but he definitely likes to shoot the puck, and he could add some depth in deeper scoring leagues. Over in Anaheim, maybe look at Cam Fowler, owned in 21% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit, and he has 8 points his last 12 games, and in those 12 games, he also has 18 blocks. He's actually had a pretty good okay amount of offense this season. Should be an alright depth option in your deeper leagues. Over in Columbus, maybe look at Adam Boquist, owned in only 7% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit. His pairing seems to change every time you kind of look at it. I've seen him first, second, third, but always on the top power play. And he has 4 points the last 5 games, couple those being on the power play, 13 shots on goal in those 5 games as well. He's getting opportunity, and as I alluded to, he gets okay power play production, so he could be a decent depth add in a scoring league. Next one's over in Philly. Look at Tony DeAngelo, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing up on the top power play unit, and he has 5 points the last 5 games, also plus 5 in those 5 games, couple power play points, 9 shots on goal, and 5 blocks in those 5 games there, so been overall pretty decent of late. With him, it has been an interesting season, but he does have some offensive upside there. He gets points wherever he goes. He had a really good season in Carolina last year, and he's been better recently, so he could turn out to be a pretty nice ad with a little bit of season left here. Last one's Evan Bouchard in Edmonton, up to 61% owned, playing second pairing up on the top power play unit, and he has 12 points his last 11 games. Of those 12 points, 5 have been on the power play, so really nice power play production. Also 20 shots on goal, starting to shoot a bit more as well. He's been producing, especially on the power play since the trade deadline there, and he'll be a great ad if he is available in your leagues. Now we'll move along to some forwards. Start off in Arizona. Look at Barrett Hayton, listed as a center, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top line, top power play unit, and he has 16 points in just the last 12 games. 5 of those being on a power play there, and 33 shots on goal in those 12 games. And that's with a couple of the games having goose eggs in there. He's been that hot. Top line is absolutely rolling in Arizona. He should be a great ad for you down the stretch. Over in Nashville, maybe look at Thomas Novak, listed as a center, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit, and he has 11 points his last 10 games, and in those 10 games, also has 21 shots on goal and 5 blocks in those 10 games. Decent amount for a forward there. So he's been playing well, and he should be a good depth add, especially in your deeper scoring leagues. Over in Washington, maybe look at Dylan Strome, listed as center right winger, up to 34% owned, playing top line, top power play unit. He has 17 points in just his last 11 games there, plus 7 in those 11 games. 5 power play points, 26 shots on goal. Basically, he's about as hot as it gets, and he should be a great depth add, especially in your scoring leagues. Next one I had was Riley Smith, but he's out at least a week now, as just announced, and that'll eat up a lot of the rest of the season, so pretty much ignore Riley Smith there. Next one is Braden Shen over in St. Louis, listed as center left winger, owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, top power play unit, and he has 12 points his last 9 games. A couple of those points being on the power play, 18 shots on goal, and 11 hits in those 9 games, so averaging over a hit a game. Pretty nice for a scoring forward anyways. He's been heating back up, and he should be a nice add going forward if he is available. Next one's over in Minnesota. Look at Marcus Johansson, listed as left winger, right winger. Only owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues right now. Playing second line, second pairing. And he has 10 points the last 9 games. And in those 9 games, he's +7, also 3 power play points. And another line that's been rolled. And that second line in Minnesota's been pretty much scoring at will right now. And with the way Boldy's going and Eriksson Ek and Johansson feeding off of that, should be a really good ad going forward. Over in Montreal, look at Nick Suzuki, listed as a center, up to 54% owned, plays top line, top power play unit, and he has 12 points the last 8 games. And in those 8 games, 3 of those points have been on the power play, also 17 shots on goal and 8 hits in those 8 games. He's finally heated back up there. He was really cold after Caulfield went down. See a little nice blip on the radar, then cold again, but he's has a nice little runway here where he's been heating back up and should be a solid depth add if he is available. Over in Columbus, maybe look at Boone Jenner, listed as a center, owned in 40% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit. All around, pretty good. 7 points the last 8 games. Couple of those points being on the power play. 29 shots on goal. Definitely likes to shoot. 15 hits and 6 blocks in those 8 games. He has really nice cats other than plus minus. Plus minus in Columbus hard to come by. But should be a decent depth add, especially in a cats league. Over in St. Louis, maybe look at Sammy Blais, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit, and he has 12 points the last 10 games. In those 10 games, he's also +5 and thrown 44 hits. If hits are counted in your league, definite bonus there. He's on a nice roll and playing in the top 6, so he could be a good depth add in certain formats, especially where hits are counted. For the Islanders, maybe look at Kyle Palmieri, listed as a right winger, only owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, up on the top power play unit there, and he has 10 points his last 6 games. And in those 6 games, he's +5, also has 15 shots on goal and 7 hits in there. He's been on a heater right now and should be a great add in your deeper leagues. Over in San Jose, possibly look at Logan Couture, listed as a center, owned in 48% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, top power play unit, and he has 12 points the last 12 games. Nice runway to average a point per game, should say. 3 of those points being on the power play. Also has 33 shots on goal, 23 hits, and 6 blocks in those 12 games. So really nice numbers. Basically is a steady Eddie here and good in most cats, so he should be a solid add going down the stretch for you. Over in Calgary, maybe look at Michael Backlund, listed as a center, owned in 44% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, top power play unit, and he has 8 points the last 9 games. 6 of those points being on the power play. He's definitely feasting on the power play right now. And in those 9 games, 28 shots on goal and 11 hits in there. He's had a solid season for an underperforming team in Calgary there, but he should be a nice depth piece in some formats for you. Going back to Minnesota, maybe look at Ryan Hartman, listed as center right winger, owned in 41% of Yahoo leagues. He plays top line, top power play unit, and he has 10 points his last 10 games. 3 of those points being on the power play, 27 shots on goal, and 7 blocks in those 10 games. He's been on a nice roll. Even with Kaprizov out, Minnesota's been rolling, and he should provide depth down the stretch for you. Over in Nashville, maybe look at Philip Tomasino, listed as a right winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, second power play unit. He's put up 10 points the last 9 games, so really nice production from the kid there. Also +5 in those 9 games. He has a nice amount of offense, and he should be a good to really good depth add in your deeper scoring leagues. Over in Vancouver, maybe look at Andrei Kuzmenko, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, top power play unit, and he has 12 points in the last 12 games, 4 of those points being on the power play there. With Kuzmenko, he definitely puts up points there. He'll be an excellent add in a scoring league if he is available. Over in Dallas, maybe look at Wyatt Johnston, listed as a center, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, second power play unit for the Stars there. He has 6 points his last 7 games, and in those 7 games, he has 20 shots on goal and 5 blocks there. He's been really solid of late, and he would be good in a deeper league. Over in Philly, maybe look at Joel Farabee, listed as center left winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, second power play unit. He currently has 7 points in a 5-game point streak there. I'm recording this on Tuesday, not sure if he extended it to 6 or not. But in those 5 games, he's a +4, has a power play point, also 13 shots on goal. He's been really hot for the last little bit here and could be a sneaky good add in a deeper league. Over in Vegas, maybe look at Pavel Dorofeyev. Not sure how to say it. Dorofeyev or Dorofeyev. Anyways, listed as a left winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit for the Golden Knights there. He has 7 points his last 7 games. And of those 7 points, 3 have been on the power play. Also 18 shots on goal. He's been really good since his last call-up here, and he should help in a deeper scoring league for sure. Going over to Montreal, look at Denis Gurianov, listed as left winger, right winger, only owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit for the Canadians there, and he has 7 points his last 10 games. And of those 7 points, couple on the power play, 20 shots on goal in those 10 games. He's been getting a bit more opportunity than he was in Dallas, and he has been producing some, so he could work in a real deep league for you. Going back to Washington, look at Nicholas Backstrom, listed as a center, owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line on the top power play unit, and he's getting back to form. 5 points the last 6 games, 4 of those 5 points being on the power play, and 4 blocks in those 6 games. He's been streaky, but seems to be better lately. Obviously, he's not the same player he once was, but he could definitely help you out in some deeper leagues right now. Also in Washington, possibly look at TJ Oshie, listed as center right winger, owned in 38% of Yahoo leagues. He plays second line, top power play unit for the Capitals there, and he has 8 points his last 9 games. And in those 9 games, he's thrown 22 hits, likes to throw the body there, also 5 blocks. He's been good for a while here, and he should be able to help out in some certain formats. Over in Toronto, maybe look at Kelly Yarncroc, listed as center, left winger, right winger, owned in 11% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, second power play unit, and he's put up 7 points the last 8 games, and in those 8 games, he's also been a +4. So he's been fitting in on the top line, been there a little bit here, so he should be a nice add in deeper leagues if he does stay on the top line. Over in Colorado, possibly look at JT Compher, listed as center right winger, owned in 48% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line on the top power play unit. He's put up 5 points the last 6 games, and in those 6 games, 3 of those points have been on the power play, also 12 shots on goal in there. It's been a little streaky, but he will get you points in bunches there, hot, cold, but he could work in certain deeper formats there. Last one's over for the Islanders. Look at Jean-Gabriel Pageau, listed as a center, owned in 27% of Yahoo leagues. He plays third line for the Islanders, top power play unit, and he has 7 points the last 7 games. Also +7 there, 777, kind of like the slot machine kind of numbers there. But in those 7 games, also 15 hits and 9 blocks. He's been really good since coming back from injury there, and he should be a nice depth add in your deeper leagues. That's it for today's episode. If you're watching via YouTube, remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell. If you're listening via podcast, please remember to give us a 5-star review, as that helps the podcast be a suggestion to other potential listeners there. And don't forget to check out 247clash.com. If you do decide to sign up, please use referral code LTC. Good luck. Hope you make it into championship week, and we'll talk to you soon there, fantasy owners.